Hello and welcome to We Are Not Alive. My name is Gus Zagarella.
And I'm Henry Galley. So, what are we here to do today, Gus?
Well, this troper has something special planned for the two of us, Henry Galley.
We have found a really strange and funny and at times oddly heartfelt article on the TV Tropes, Sugar Wiki subdivision that is about the ways that being a troper can enhance your life as a kind of yang to the yin of the whole TV tropes can ruin your life type thing. And as a pair of committed tropers who have done a lot of kind of tongue-in-cheek material covering the website before, whether it's a vintage video on Echo Chamber, which is so funny to listen to if you want to hear Gus and Meg at genuinely the most depressed I have ever heard either of them.
It's so true. I think I was more psychologically injured by that than I ever was at That One Amazing Movie.
You were peppier the time that rogue SpaceX thruster fell down into Boston and killed your entire family. You were cheerier then than you were when we were doing Echo Chamber. It was a good time on Tropophales, and we'll see what happens with that. But safe to say, we are tropers down to the bone. You cut us, we bleed trope. For better or for worse.
Yes, and so this article is going to improve our lives. It is going to help us embrace the joy that is being tropers, reading troper tales, just seeing the world through the lens of all the recurring traits of fiction. Are you ready to begin our journey, Henry Galley, into the miasma? Not the miasma, that's a bit of a negative word. Into the
mists.
The mists, into the mists we go!
Oh, I'm a joker, I'm a toker, I'm a midnight troper. Let's do this.
So, this begins with like all great profound works, with an italicized quote.
Hell yeah.
According to some, a comprehensive knowledge of TV tropes, which I won't link to, saving you all time, money, and time, is a reasonable substitute for a degree in English Lit, years of training in the fields of psychoanalysis, and, in extreme cases, a medical license. So, Henry, how do you feel about that quote?
I wouldn't lie, they had me in the first half. Look, here is the thing. We have many times on this channel discussed the fact that me and Gus have really benefited from our time getting our respective BAs in the world of writing. But I will admit, as someone who has to pay back almost £500 a month in student loan debt, there are times when I think, would have been easier to to spend a lot more time on TV tropes. In those moments, I feel the temptation. I won't lie.
Yeah, man, £500? That's got to be heavy to lift every month.
Fuck you. Just ask my bank account. It's straining under the weight. Its little weedy legs are breaking.
But yeah, I like this. I like the idea of, all of the education being able to be nullified or counteracted by the TV tropes.
I believe it's actually the after dismantling the Department of Education, the Trump administration plans to replace K through 12 with TV tropes.
Oh, wow. Hey, we can get behind that. Before it begins to list, there is a little bit of a preamble that says, so you're spending a lot of time reading TV tropes. You remember every trope of legend and know by heart the whole canonical list of subtle trope distinctions. But still, even if it might ruin your life, in quotes, TV tropes might also make it better in many areas. Besides, who needs a social life that has no nerds in it? Represent, hell yeah.
Yeah.
So this is organized as all different things that will improve on TV tropes, and we'll go through them item by item. The first one is vocabulary. You never know what bizarre word a troper will use, especially if you're not native English, and you need to understand it. Then, whoa, you remember and start using it. Congratulations, your vocabulary just got a +1 bonus.
So, okay, I can't obviously speak to the experience of people using TV tropes to learn English as a second language, though, if in the very rare chance that that does apply to you, I'd love to hear about your experience with that in the comments down below.
Because that is very much not our area of expertise. We are both English speakers who went to school for English, and you're from English.
Yeah,
You
no,
are an
it's true.
English.
I'm straight from source. But no, the thing is, I will say, as much as it would be easy, and I think the us of prior years probably would have been like way harsher and more bad faith in this, I will say that having a shared vocabulary of the different tropes can actually be really valuable shorthand in sort of creative brainstorming conversation.
Yeah, I agree. Like some actual examples: laconic, any one of the four temperaments, and double meanings no one else has on this site has ever been able to get. I don't actually quite know what that one was, but the last one is, let's not forget, egregious. Egregious is maybe the most trope word ever.
It's true. It is a good word too. I feel like we've definitely used our fair share of egregious when talking about some of the different media and advice that we've discussed on this channel. But no, I think genuinely that they do have a point here. And while media literacy is a very complex thing that can kind of be
Yeah,
discussed
very
from
thorny.
yeah, from like a huge number of different angles, whether you're talking about like different lenses of like critical theory, whether you are talking about kind of knowledge of techniques and of like the study of rhetoric. But frankly, while I wouldn't endorse any one source as this should be your Bible for like entering this as a subject or understanding it, I genuinely do believe that to some degree, especially when having creative discussions and talking about media, that TV tropes should be a part of a balanced diet in regards to understanding all that.
Yeah, and I also just think there is such a pure joy in calling things egregious when they seem to be so.
Work egregious into your comment down in the comment section. Make people who were so inattentive that they didn't get to the 10-minute mark in this video feel really confused as to why you're using that. Make them think that they are just undergoing the Beta Meinhof effect right now.
Might I say, use egregious egregiously in the comments section below.
You're goddamn right. All right, what's the next one?
So, next up is grammar. Even if you literally know nothing about it, there's always a grammar Nazi around to correct you, making you acknowledge the error and learn by fun, because TV tropes is fun.
I mean, I can't say that, like...
I don't think that's a fun experience,
Yeah, no,
personally.
I don't think being pulled up on your grammar while editing the Planet 51 wild mass guessing page to include all your hot fan theories about how it's actually connected to the Red One universe is a particularly fun experience. We'll maybe make another video about
wow.
that theory I have sometime, since the fucking sheeple at TV Tropes aren't willing to let me share my feelings there. But I guess that's a soapbox
Whoa,
for another
okay.
day.
Wow. Okay, there is nothing I could say to top that. All I have to do is reminisce about the time that that grammar Nazis were the most present form of that.
Yeah. Oh, God.
It was a better time. It was a better time, honestly.
Is Charlie hiding somewhere around here? This video is getting so political. The Charlie effect must be occurring right now.
They're doing a domain expansion political discussion. Oh man, shout out to Charlie Green. Anyway,
Yes.
what's next is series. So you read a trope or something, and there it is, a TV show or a comic that sounds good. You'd never know about its existence without TV tropes.
No, in all earnestness, I legitimately think that is one of the best things TV Tropes can do. Because, let's be real,
Yes!
let's not pretend we're above it. There are tropes that we all just enjoy, things we're suckers for, whether it's a certain type of character or a certain type of dynamic or world or motif or idea. And I... Oh, sorry, that's a train going by. You may experience this. Meg and I moved house. But no, I think TV Tropes legitimately has been a gateway into so much media that I absolutely adore. And this is something that genuinely, without caveats, without jokes, I think it is excellent for. And anytime I need like a little dose of kind of, I guess, old internet nostalgia, I will go onto their Nightmare Fuel page and look at the like web original and other and stuff like that. So yeah, no, I 100% completely co-sign that one.
Yeah, because like I remember like way back in the like 2010 to 2012, I like discovered a lot of web comics and a lot of like obscure like internet media through TV Tropes because they would have TV Tropes pages. I would even discover like, anime series and television shows through this. So it's a great like any like website or resource that can connect people to more things that they might be into is a good thing, The way that streaming services work is that just so much nonsense is pushed in front of us that we end up having to like, talk to if we don't have like, people who are recommending things that we might like, we end up just being like, oh, well, okay, what's going to be talked about at the water cooler this week? Oh, but there's so many of these. But no, TV Tropes lets you find your own path. And I think that's cool. And I think a lot of things should be more like that.
I will also happily, great word, Henry. And TV Tropes gave me that to expand my vocabulary.
I have to look that up.
Happily.
I haven't heard that one before.
A great new word.
That's pretty nice.
When I do, that wasn't very Danta of you. When I do like watch a new movie or TV show and enjoy it, a lot of the time I will go to its TV Tropes page and check the Your Mileage May Vary section for the drama.
I do that all the time! I literally do that all the
Same
time.
hat.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not alone in that. And I know, Meg, you do that too,
Yes,
right? Meg does it too. Meg's in the background. We have a shared office now.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
because we're
completely
all sick and we're all stupid. No, but this is fun. This is wholesome. We're having a good time. But yeah, okay, so the next one is school. TV Tropes is helpful for literature classes because you start thinking about literary works in the context of analysis, which is the entire point of most literature classes. Well, that and the whole everyone is Jesus in purgatory thing. You need to remember not to tell your college professor that the Ariadne myth hung a lampshade on the whole philandering gods thing.
Speaking of Ariadne, you should check out our show, The Kingmaker Histories, which Meg is the showrunner of. Very tasteful segue.
Steampunk, alternative history, the good neighbors. I'm just trying to list off as many tropes as I can remember that apply.
Well, it actually has a TV Tropes page.
It does, and nobody...
Meg is here.
Nobody's edited it in a while. I had to make an account to edit it because I wanted to add something to it.
Then you, the trope-loving audience, should change that.
Please, my boy is starving.
Go listen to the multiple seasons of...
Food.
Yes, give it some love.
Don't even listen to the rest of this video. Go and edit the Kingmaker Histories page on TV Tropes immediately. What are you doing? Get out of here. We're just chatting.
We don't
need you here. We don't want you here.
If you haven't heard it, if this sells you on the show, Ariadne Culver is the name of one of the show's primary villains, voiced by one regular Addison Peacock. She is a very hot, in a milfy way, evil flesh witch who can do some very The Thing / Mahito from Jujutsu Kaisen things to herself and others. If that sounds crazy and a little bit horny, you're right. Go listen to it. Anyway, so back to the substance of the point that you said there, Gus. I've got to admit, as someone who hasn't even been in uni for like several years now, I can't say that I ever personally use TV Tropes to assist in my studies. I guess if you're planning on using it as a kind of cheaper Sparks Notes, it can, or Cliffs Notes if you're American, it can kind of, I guess, give you the skeleton of a thing to help contextualize further reading, but I wouldn't recommend using it as basically like a cheat sheet for your classes.
Yeah. We don't have to agree with all of these.
And we definitely won't. We definitely won't. I've read some of them.
And especially because, like, you know, I think the whole everyone is Jesus in purgatory thing, it is in reference to something that, like, Gen Z especially is way more, like, aware of, is the whole, like, blue curtains meme. And I've been seeing a lot that, like, that meme has, like, really everybody that is just a generation younger than us has, like, thoughts on what that meme sort of did to their development in terms of, like, understanding stories. It was a lot bigger than, like, you know, the kind of blip it was for us who had already, like, left school when it came out.
No, it's true that there is definitely this kind of like memey anti-intellectualism, and I think there is, especially on like TikTok and stuff like that, that there's a lot of problems in trying to like make it seem like it's like a good moral decision to do to not like read the classics or like the canon.
Well, I think the problem is that, like, you know, when you're a teenager, you don't want to do work and, you know, because it's boring and you want to, like, you know, do other stuff. But because there's also this, like, I have to keep up my brand on TikTok and be cool for the adults and be, like, a good upstanding person, you have to frame, like, normal teen angst and reluctance to do your homework as, like, this is the way society should be run. And it's... You know, it's rough. I feel for them because that's not pressure that they deserve.
No, it's true. It's true. And the thing is, what I will say in defense of like some of the younger people who are like watching this video right now and maybe resonate with these feelings of like just not enjoying the material, I think a fair thing to say is that even something that you would normally love experienced under duress, it does taint it. Like, for example, I can give you a very specific one. The Angela Carter collection of short stories, The Bloody Chamber, which is a series of sort of like sumptuous, dark, like erotic retellings of fairy tales that have some really like challenging material. It was one of the things that my class studied for like year 10 English, and we dissected that thing within an inch of its life. I found my old copy. It was like battered and like had annotations all over the pages. And I read it again like a couple of years ago in just a reading it for myself context. And I was like, oh, I'm digging this. This is fantastic. This is really wonderful. And I think it just goes to show how context really is everything. And in life, you will just enjoy things more when you felt like it was your choice.
Yeah, exactly. And school is going to be pretty bad about that in general. But hey, we're not done letting TV tropes save our school. So maybe education will be better when there's more TV tropes in it. Let's find out.
Yes, I'm ready. Sorry, I was leaving a pause because I thought you were going to get straight into it. All right, let's go.
Oh boy. Oh boy. All right, so this next one is... It's also amazing for AP Language and Comp, where the terms laconic, anarchism, and deus ex machina are real in all caps.
Sorry, this is such a dumb thing to laugh at, but the term like AP for like advanced placement is a very specific to like American schools thing. So I thought you were saying AP language as in language evocative of an ape, and my brain was trying to like wrap itself around that.
You can learn ooh, you can learn you can learn bup, 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 bup. And of course, you must communicate through thumping your chest.
I can't wait for the TV Tropes course on AP language. I want to go and live among them like Jane Goodall and befriend the apes.
Wow, that's so fun. And it's like you never hear like gorillas and orangutans as like, oh, they're apey. They're not apes, but they're like ape-y, you know? They're like
I'm about to so I'm going to this is lost media now. But like when I hit you with the Cramp twins in Wonder Over Wonder, and it ruined and destroyed the show. I'm about to do that to you again.
Unraveled reality.
Something that's like AP English or like AP Science, and you think it's advanced placement, but it's actually just that for apes feels like a fucking joke that they would have done on My Gym Partner's a Monkey.
Yeah, like AP calculus, and you come in and they're like hanging from
Yeah, and they're
the
like
ceiling.
throwing calculators and like screeching at each other.
Oh my god. Wow. I did not expect we'd get derailed into AP language.
Then let's leave the jungle and let's hear the next bullet point.
It just goes to show how wide the breadth of the English language really is, you know?
It's true. It's so wide that it's a good habitat for apes.
Yes, it even helps with sociology. Show your professor a page like Eagle Land Osmosis, and they make note of your research.
I'm just kind of feeling some poor
Wow.
like high school sociology teacher just kind of having to be like, wow, that's cool. Anyway, if we could all turn to like page 306 in our textbook onto modalities of the family, like it just being something that like showing it to them is just kind of like, wow. I'm glad you're engaging with the material, Brian.
To be fair to this, I did look at what Eagle Land Osmosis was, and it is when like foreign countries will consume American-made media and believe that like laws and social strictures and things that happen in their country work the way they do in America erroneously because the media has shaped their perception of things.
Which is a really interesting phenomenon. Again, I think like
So show your professors that. They'll think you're rad and cool.
yeah, I mean the thing is at the end of the day, like I enjoy a good TV trope safari in the same way that I enjoy a good Wikipedia safari now and then. Because at the end of the day, it's just cool to know stuff. And because, this isn't a Two Professional Writers video, I don't need to sort of justify it the same way as, oh, it will help you as a writer, though it will. It will also just make you a more interesting human being. Like, the more you know, the more you have to talk about with people, the more ways you have to connect with people, and admittedly you will probably be seen as a little bit strange if you like go to a party and just start talking about like tropes, but
Eagle Land Osmosis,
yeah, at the end of the day, like knowledge is good as long as it is consumed with a critical eye.
Well, it just reminds me of, like, those memes about, it's like, yeah, I don't like small talk. I don't really enjoy, like, talking about the weather. I'm going to roll up to people at the party, and I'm going to be like, hey, are we Boltzmann brains?
I thought you were going to hit me with the Wojak meme that's like the guy in the corner of the party. They don't know I'm a troper.
They don't know I'm a troper. Yeah, well, that's the thing, If you can't avoid the small talk, or if you avoid the small talk and the big talk, you end up in the corner like the troper. But don't be that kind of troper. Be this kind of troper, because TV Tropes is also great for history if you have a teacher who likes film and books. For example, the history of manga.
I mean,
I don't know that if you're like doing like Napoleonic times research in your like European history class, that if you were just like, yeah, well, Napoleon in Fate Stay Night is a lady actually, and she's so hot.
Yeah, it's like according to my research in TV Tropes, Napoleon ran into the Time Bandits from the Terry Gilliam film Time Bandits. What do you have to say about that? Like, okay, I'm being a bit facetious there. Like, don't get me wrong.
We both are.
TV Tropes does have some stuff about, like, media history, does have stuff about, like, real-life events. And again, I think, and I'm not discounting the quality of some of that stuff, but the same advice I gave earlier applies of consume it as part of a broader diet of context and research. Because at the end of the day, you shouldn't be taking all of your information from one source on anything that's important.
Yes. So the next way to improve school is try being a communication or media studies major and having notebooks filled with TV Tropes references. Shut up. You don't know me. You don't know what I was like.
I mean, again, I think that's where it probably is most directly applicable. You probably could get some interesting, like film history stuff. And I think it's interesting that because of the way that TV Tropes is arranged, it's not just films and TV and books and like manga and comics, the most obvious stuff. It's also stuff like advertising, which I spend a lot of time on because, sad to admit, you and Meg and Addison and Charlie and Jasper all know this, but and Zoe all know this, but the audience probably wouldn't. I'm like an advertising and marketing nerd. I find that stuff really interesting. Um, and
A regular madman, you might
it's,
say.
it's true. It's true. I'm really the Don Draper of Warner. Take that whatever way you want.
You're a real ham.
It's something that can be found and is like really interesting. It's just something that at the end of the day, like just make it one of your sources. Maybe don't have it be like, oh, TV Tropes taught me everything I know. Though I am just now picturing like, yeah, the like Department of Education confirmation hearing for Fast Eddie is underway.
Why? Yeah. Oh, man.
To create the Department of Tropeducation.
He wasn't fast enough to avoid getting roped into that nonsense.
He was cut by Doge. Fuck, where is Charlie? They must be hiding somewhere. Their ambient effect
Yeah.
is consuming us. But TV Tropes, it's TV Tropes' fault for making this about education.
I know. So the next thing is one teaching method is to teach somebody about particular concepts and then present them with a story employing those concepts so that they can see them in action or be challenged to find them themselves and explain the implications thereof. That feels more like on the curriculum side of things than it is for like if you're in school. It does teach you more about fiction and concepts.
I mean, that's the thing, that there is a concept that I did a lot in my like English Lit with creative writing degree called close reading, where you would be given like passages of text from different sources, and you would have to identify like the use of different devices or like rhetoric or like kind of discuss why certain language was used in others, and that's kind of basically what's being described here. And I mean, again, it exists even in its most basic form in like properly like primary in English parlance or elementary grade. Elementary, I'm assuming that's the basic one, right? That's the younger kids.
Yeah, that's what it's called. It's where you practice, controlling water or earth or fire or air.
Fuck you.
Come on, let me have a little fun.
I'm the fun police. Tropes are serious business, which is also, by the way, a trope.
All right, you're going to love this next bullet point, man. I know you will because we both do.
Oh boy. I never would have figured when we decided to make this video that so much of this would be like discussing like theories of pedagogy.
Yeah. Wait, pedagogy?
Yeah, you know, like theories of teaching. It's nothing to do. Ped just it connotates. Okay, I'm looking this up right now.
Because I've heard that word. It's just we don't use it in America that much. At least
it is not something that is like a part of like standard speech. It's a very academic term. It says pedagogy, most commonly understood as the approach to teaching, is the theory and practice of learning and how this process influences and is influenced by the social, political, and psychological development of learners. So I did use it correctly in this case.
Ah, well, there we go. TV Tropes expanded my vocabulary today, +1. It was my favorite part of Dante's Inferno when he went to the Pedagogia.
We're getting very intellectual jokes in this one. That's what you can expect from TV Tropes content. Just check out Trope Affairs where we're just talking about like fat asses and fighting muggers the whole time. It's very very highbrow subject matter.
Cringe lords from a decade ago who can find the video and instantly be reminded of their lamest selves.
That's just a service we provide here at Warner.
All right, so this bullet point is reality is unrealistic will show you how much more interesting your world can be.
I'll admit, I've never actually been on that page.
I am shocked. Like, genuinely, this is not a bit. I'm so surprised that you, of all people, wouldn't want to look into reality is unrealistic.
And that's the thing. I think I will want to. It's definitely what I'm going to be doing instead of working this afternoon. But no, it's that same thing of like I love going onto those big like 100 weirdest Wikipedia articles and going through and like reading all of them to get either like weird facts or like writing inspiration. So honestly, I do think that could be used for that. And after we have recorded this video, I am definitely going to test it firsthand.
Yes. Oh, super fun. Next bullet point is TV Tropes also helps with film studies due to listing conventions.
No, that I actually think is really true. Like, I think, like we were saying earlier, there's a lot of like weird, obscure films that you can discover through being on TV Tropes and looking at things sort of via these categories. So yeah, no, I completely agree that it could be a good complement to engaging in film studies.
Yeah, like TV Tropes like definitely helped me when I was like getting into writing, like in the absence of some of the more specialized classes I took. It helped me look at like what a genre is or like a type of story and then break it down into the smaller component parts that can be mixed and matched or excised completely, and you would still have the whole. So it's really valuable when it comes to, I mean, I guess the point of being a website that catalogs tropes, the one thing that it was meant for.
Yeah, no one can say it does that badly. I'm sure some person in the comments who like had an article they made deleted 10 years ago.
It hasn't listed my favorite trope, a butt explosion.
No, that's the thing. I love that there are these websites like All the Tropes that are like the kind of Always Sunny like bar with no rules versions because I think a thing that is really fascinating is like the TV Tropes list of deleted pages where they went in and removed all the stuff that was either like straight up porn or tropes that were clearly just in there because like everyone writing them was obviously very bricked up while doing it.
Yeah, no, that's so true. Like there was temporarily a fetish fuel wiki that also contained a bunch of this stuff, but that got shut down as well.
Which I've got to admit does devastate me because god damn would I have wanted to read that, even if it felt a little bit like opening the Ark of the Covenant in Indiana Jones.
Oh, Henry, you have no idea. That place had unarchived Troper tales that were purely about just how horned up people got about real things that happened to them. It was like Loser City before Loser City.
Oh my god, I can't believe we've had our first drop of loser. Please, if you are over 18, do not do this if you are underage. If you're over 18,
And maybe
please.
don't even do it if you're
Well,
an
if
adult.
you're over 18
Maybe.
and can hang, go search out r/loser city. That is a captivating place.
Anybody who is like a frequenter of r/loser city who is like so shocked that we've brought it up in this video, represent in the comments. Like, shout yourselves out. It's one of our favorite subreddits.
And if you are one of these people, I know what your priorities are. We'll probably bring Direwolf back someday. Alrighty.
Oh,
What's
don't
next?
promise them things that will destroy them. So next, and this is the last bit of like schooling, the last bullet point in this section is, in fact, TV Tropes is a surprisingly effective way of learning all sorts of factual topics, such as science, technology, and history. Whenever a work of art has a mistake, TV Tropes is likely to correct it and state how it actually goes in reality. You are much more likely to learn these things here than by reading a phone book-sized dry textbook.
Got weirdly like bitter towards the end about the textbooks. But like no, I will admit there is some very interesting stuff on the kind of like what do they call it? They're like artistic license subdivisions.
Yeah, artistic license biology, artistic license space travel.
I mean, they have it for basically every subject, like history, politics, business, and I think stuff like that actually can be really interesting. It's basically the summation of, do you remember all those articles Cracked used to do that were basically this?
Yeah, except like this is more like to me I think like, TV Tropes is a more fun way to learn these things because, like what you were saying before, there's more choice involved rather than like when you're going to Cracked, you're reading like, specific articles that are supposed to educate you on a specific subject. With TV Tropes, you find the facts organically because you just start going on a Safari and clicking different links.
True, God, man. I miss Good Cracked. I miss Good Cracked so much.
You miss good crack?
Yes, I start like honking up right here on the thing.
No, Henry, you were 18 months sober.
Boy, this crack is really Moorish. But no, in all seriousness,
Not weed, it's just a bit of crack.
quick little like soapbox thing. That is another thing that Mark Zuckerberg took from us forever by fudging Facebook's watcher numbers and starting the pivot to video that basically destroyed the market for online written content and that destroyed
Yep.
Cracked's golden era, got that like team of really phenomenal writers all shit canned, and they're all doing like cool shit today. But goddamn, like through like the latter years of like my high school, Cracked was like an everyday visit because there was this legitimate period where it was some of the best written stuff on the internet. And it is a shadow of its former self now. It's just kind of another like BuzzFeed.
That is like a really interesting like anecdote and piece of history, and it also like I think it says a lot about your development as a writer, like from my perspective.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it like makes a lot of sense that like I would be influenced by that and by a lot of the stuff that I saw in there, just factual stuff, ended up in a lot of my writing. And in a way, I've got to say, to sort of bring that full circle, um, there's something genuinely kind of beautiful about the fact that TV Tropes, this like just very old internet, like text based site, is still around like this and is still updated for basically every major piece of media. And that is kind of beautiful.
Yeah, no, I think that there is something in the longevity of TV Tropes that there is a poetic beauty in, I would say.
Other than Wikias, genuinely, who is starting new text-based websites that get like an actual user base? It's not happening anywhere else.
Yeah, like I think the biggest one I can think of is probably like Smogon, which is that like Pokemon based aggregate for like different like competitive strategies. And that's Pokemon, the biggest franchise in the world.
Yeah, no, and that's basically, yet like you said, a very like niche, well, not niche as in like unpopular, but specific fan forum essentially.
Yeah, like it can exist in text form because it has that dedicated user base.
And I mean, fuck, TV Tropes started as a Buffy like discussion forum before like spanning out to everything. So who knows? Maybe we'll see as people get more nostalgic for this kind of stuff in the increasingly like broken attention span meta like video content field. Maybe we'll see some things evolve back into TV Trope style.
I go on Smogon for the articles. I don't care how good my Snorlax is. I want to read about modern cutting edge technology.
This is a really thoughtful piece, actually, on Smogon. Smogon these nuts.
Come
I'm
on,
so
man!
sorry.
Come on!
Please
How
proceed.
dare you! How dare you!
You know, it's been a while since I've done that because even Meg in the background laughed, and Meg hates when I do that shit. All right, let's go.
All right, so moving on from school to critical thinking. First, because carefully analyzing a work and breaking it down into its component tropes teaches you to carefully watch TV with a judging mind instead of just passively accepting the show. Second, because there's a reason you've become so acquainted with negative tropes, such as author tract, as well as potentially negative tropes like faux symbolism, because they give you a solid base to justify why a show is bad. There are bullet points after that, but what do you think of this?
It's interesting. Can I get that again? I think my brain has had trouble swallowing that. Trouble voring.
All right, we'll take it from the top, but this time I'm going to punish you with a bad
Oh
voice.
no.
Critical thinking. First, because carefully analyzing a work and breaking it down into its component tropes teaches you to carefully watch TV with a judge in mind instead of just passively accepting the show. Second, because there's a reason you've become so acquainted with negative tropes, such as author tract, as well as potentially negative tropes like faux symbolism, because they give you a solid base to justify why a show is bad. If I see another black woman on screen, I'm gonna shit myself.
These men, the things they do.
And the power, the dominance between them, the way they touch their bodies, the way they sandwich my wiener.
Just picturing the critical drinker is just like watching gay porn and saying this and like acting like it's just like a movie. Anyway,
why isn't Disney more like this?
Just men having a good time the way they did back in ancient Greece.
It's back to tradition, the way Disney should be. Get these women out of here. They don't know how to put a man's dong in their mouths. Not the way that other men do.
I'm about to bring up, I think, genuinely the most obscure and horrible piece of media ever discussed on a channel that has a 2-hour video about that one amazing movie.
Right.
I have a feeling that the critical drinker subtextually would love gay N-words from outer space.
In their natural habitat. It's true to life.
That's a movie that shouldn't exist.
No, I hope that was good for the audience, because I think it's rough that like all of a sudden some critical drinker fans are going to not be homophobic for the brief second to like tone police our interpretation of some of his words.
That's so I mean, those fans have not made it this far into a video like this where we've discussed the things we've discussed. They were gone the second we were making Trump jokes.
Anyway, Henry Galley, did you absorb that the second time around, or should we just move on?
Let's get it one more time in a different noggin.
Critical thinking! The worst voice ever.
There's some substance to the first point. I think it can help you observe media closer and analyze certain like recurring patterns and ideas. But I think the second one kind of is like gearing a person up to be like the most obnoxious person in the movie discussion. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I think that's the thing, is just because you know the words can be applied to some things doesn't mean that you'll always be applying them correctly.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think as well, it can... Could you explain bungus to the audience real quick? Because I think this is another good bungus moment.
Okay, yeah, so bungus... Well, Henry, the main thing about bungus is that I cannot explain what bungus is. But things that I don't like in media are bungus. Everything I like is unbungus, but bungus things I cannot stand. And no, I will not explain what bungus is.
And I think basically the phenomenon that was discussed in that second point, you're going to get a lot of people who are like, oh, this was bad because it did one of the bad tropes, or it executed this trope in a way that you weren't meant to, or something like that. I think that when we're making value judgments, it can create a much too, I guess, rigid way of conceptualizing the quote-unquote quality of media.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, it is bungus, you know? You do have to just point out that it's bungus all the time.
Big bungus, big bungus, big bungus.
Yeah, alright, so first bullet point in the critical thinking section: spruce up your critical thinking in general by getting to know the logical fallacies that we helpfully list. Learn to spot weak or fallacious logic in the surrounding media. Then you can re-examine or strengthen your own understanding and poke holes in your enemy's arguments to boot.
Man, they're starting to lose me a little bit.
Look, it's important to know like logic. I think it's good to do that, but don't be the guy who's just like, that's a fallacy, and that's a fallacy, and you're a fallacy, and I'm a fallacy, and the world's a fallacy. Like, at a certain point you do have to actually like see what your opponent was trying to say, or try to comprehend what's going on. Like, not everything is going to require debate tactics.
Yeah, no, it's true, and I think a lot of the time, if you are, like, in just normal human conversations, using, like, these kind of things to not engage with the spirit or content of what a person or a piece of media is saying, I think you're very often gonna, like, lose the forest for the trees.
I'm just imagining like it's like, hey bro, can I have one of your fries? I don't know. If you take one of my fries, that's gonna be a slippery slope. And then the first friend is like, bro, slippery slope is a logical fallacy. Give me your fries.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's we are degrading the quality of conversation.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Also, if there's a crinkling, it is because I am taking the wrapper. It's a bit of ASMR. Taking the wrapper off a pack of Arnott's Tim Tams because it is currently 2:05 p.m. Aussie time as I'm recording this, and I've only had a bowl of Cheerios today. So I'm very
Yeah.
sorry for the how dare you remind us that you're a human being that eats crowd, but I don't want to pass out in the middle of the tropes.
I am the human being who eats.
I am human nature.
Every man, woman, child, and grandma and dog, but not dog. Everything but actually just humans.
Where were we?
I like when people know what we reference. I also like it when they don't.
We get off on it. Join the Patreon, $1 a month, and get all the inside jokes.
There's still things you won't understand. Bullet point number 2. Tropes don't just help you criticize a work that's bad, but can help you analyze a work that's good. Maybe a work plays with a trope in an interesting way. Perhaps they managed to play it straight, but it just works so well in the story. Maybe they have finally made you enjoy your pet peeve trope because they didn't do something that annoys you in every other work with the trope, proving that there's hope for the trope yet. Maybe they combined tropes you'd never think would go together, but resulted in a super original and entertaining story. Maybe a work just has a lot of tropes you like, and you want to explain just why those tropes work for you.
But I think there really is something to the phrase "hope for the trope." I think maybe we can
Yeah,
use that at some point. But no,
yeah, that was my biggest takeaway. Yeah.
but other than Hope for the Trope, the new game show that me and Gus will be hosting,
Hope for the trope.
I do actually have to say, I think they do have a point there. Like, I guess at the end of the day, while obviously TV Tropes isn't going to hopefully dictate your feelings around the media that you consume, they can at least help you express those feelings, give you a language to do it, and I think that is a positive thing, genuinely.
Yeah, and I think it's like important that there is like a paragraph down here being like, "Hey, it's not just about finding the flaws in things. Critical thinking can also like, make you be more appreciative of what's going right or when things are logical."
No, it's true. It's true. I think it's one of the biggest misconceptions is this idea that to be a critic or to engage in criticism means like inherently to tear a piece down, when in reality it just means to look at it through a critical lens, to appraise its technical qualities, to theorize about it, and whether that will shake out positively or negatively depends on the media, the critic, and the lens sitting between them.
Yeah, and sometimes like it is just a matter of like you're making logical connections on your own to build a position for yourself that you believe is substantial and like stands up to scrutiny. It's not always someone else has a position and you're like, maybe if I apply my critical thinking, you'll not believe that thing you believe."
Yeah, like critical thinking is not like a shonen power system.
Yeah, it's not like I have the ultimate power. I can be a contrarian. I can contradict anyone's viewpoint without ever establishing a foundation of my own.
My friends don't invite me to parties anymore because I make it weird.
Yeah, which means I won the debate of whether or not they're going to invite me. Uh,
Clearly, they're just weak. After I owned them with facts and logic, and yeah, I made Susie cry, but she was under the belief that her dead mother would be going to heaven, when in fact, such a thing is a fallacy. All I did was inform her, and people act like I'm some kind of monster.
Yeah, and she had it coming too, because incidentally, that bitch believed water is wet, which it isn't, for reasons that I know because I'm a sophist.
Oh, if anyone hasn't, please go and subscribe to the Slappable Jerk, because his average Redditor series is just this, and it is both hilarious and infuriating in the best way. He's an amazing content creator and just legitimately a very good, bless you, legitimately a very good actor and writer.
Yeah, ooh, I'll have to check that out as well. On to the next section, which is something that is very near and dear to us and our online presence, writing.
Hey, you're in Daddy's house now.
Whoa, boy!
Me and Gus are your two gay writing dads.
You're not trapped in here with us. We're trapped in here with each other, and we fucking like it.
Okay, this reminded
Does that
me.
make you uncomfortable?
This reminded me of something, right? So,
Uh-huh.
a nearby
Yeah.
place.
What is this? What is this reminding you of?
You would never guess if I literally gave you 1,000,000 years. You would never guess. So, Meg and I, on our way to this like nearby place called Chatswood, people in Sydney, if you know, you know. There is this building, and Meg is immediately going to start laughing when I say the words, but there is a shop called the Gas Showroom, which sells like ovens and like barbecues and like other gas powered things. But just the name, the Gas Showroom, is very threatening. And we developed this headcanon that you'd go inside and it's just like an empty shop. And there's a guy in
No.
there and he farts.
No!
And then like an overhead screen suddenly says sniff. And you turn around to leave, and there's like a soldier with like a gas mask and like a rifle standing at the door.
You must sniff. You must sample the gas showroom.
So
Wow.
I don't know when I would ever have.
Wait, how did that?
I guess just being like trapped in a place made me think of that.
I've forgotten I nearly have forgotten what this video is about. If I didn't have the page in front of me, dude, what? I'm gonna kill you.
Here's a bit of Henry lore that Gus and Megan, all of the people on this channel who like know me in real life, can corroborate. My brain makes very kind of like odd like connections and jumping off points, and they're always logical, but sometimes I'll just bring a thing up that will have people sort of being like, how did you get to that? And then I'll be able to be like, oh, here are the like 3 different connections like related to that. And it all makes sense. It's just that all of the connective tissue happened very quickly in my brain. So why I'm bringing the thing up makes sense to me, but seems like a complete curveball to everyone else. Does anyone else experience that in the audience?
Yeah, please, tell us, because I think in your case, Henry, it is, so indicative of the way that you make connections with your ideas and in your writing as well. You've trained yourself to take pre-existing concepts and connect them to things that are currently going on in a way that I think is very novel.
Thank you.
And unique.
Only this brain could have brought the piss house into reality that I believe we discussed in the rating your dreams video. the No Sleep podcast was just like, if you write this, Henry, we're not gonna feature it. So I didn't.
You can't do the piss house. Man, talk about taking the piss.
Would you?
I feel like I actually made that same joke in the past.
The question is, and I pose this same question to the audience, would you rather go to the piss house or the gas showroom?
Yeah, sure. Audience, weigh in on that. Don't get out of here. Get out while you still can.
Run.
I gotta tell you, there is a rare pleasure of like being a YouTuber for this long, and you'll go back and you'll hear like similar situations.
And you make the joke in your head, and
You
then the
make
you
the
in
same
the past
joke,
makes
yes.
it. And you're like, oh god damn it, I'm so predictable. That's happened to me so many times rewatching old videos.
I know.
And it's always funny and always surreal.
Okay, so to get into the
Writing
writing
section.
of this, TV Tropes can tell you all about a possibly negative trope in your work that you didn't even know existed. Now there are all sorts of stories which have been improved thanks to this wonderful website. This pre-bullet points. What do you think?
We'll tell you what, let's wait for the bullet points. Let's give them a fair shake. Let's get them on the substance here.
Yeah, exactly. Remember you are one.
That is the feeling, by the way. The remember you are one when past you makes the same joke present you would have made in a YouTube video.
Yeah.
Respect the balance.
You need to control yourself.
Me looking at YouTube videos, you're the only lovable part of me.
Oh, damn. Oh, this is getting fucking real. All right, bullet point number 1. But don't forget that tropes are not bad. You can discover fresh tropes that never would have occurred to you to use them in your writing. Or you can take old, discredited tropes and subvert or deconstruct them in interesting, in exciting new ways.
I mean, yeah, theoretically that is a thing you could do. I mean, as we know from the Echo Chamber video, that is something that you and Meg very much used to do in your neophyte writing days. Did you find it help?
Yeah, like, I certainly had a lot of fun.
And in a way, that's a win, you know?
Yeah, because, like, I don't know how much nowadays I'm, like, going in and being like, ooh, the thing I'm working on needs a little something. I gotta find one of those old and deep tropes. Those dank, hidden tropes somewhere, I gotta...
Do not recite the deep tropes to me, which I was there when they were written.
You gotta go into the room, you take the whiff, and you get the tannins, you get those earthy qualities in you.
And then the guy with the gun lets you leave.
Yeah, exactly.
You go to the trope
I'm coming back
showroom.
here next week.
See if there's hope
I'm
for the
inviting
trope.
people. You gotta find hope for the trope.
By the way, quick aside, just because there's no way he's here because the video doesn't have his name in it, and there's no way he made it this deep into the video. You know what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, after all the nonsense we're talking about.
Max Landis, 100% proved our point because he made a comment on the video. I
Yeah.
say fuck it, put it on screen right now. Basically,
I can't, he deleted
no,
it!
you have a screen cap of it. It's in our Facebook chat.
Wait, I do! I saved it!
Yeah.
Yes! Oh,
So-
here it is!
So that's
Here it
on
is!
screen right now.
Man, talking about smelling farts!
The absolute king of smelling his own.
Yeah!
He basically went down into the comments and was like begging to like be let on as a guest, and then presumably watched more than 30 seconds of the video, heard us beating the shit out of him, and perhaps heard the bit where I said he's probably watching because he Googles his own name, and then deleted the comment in shame. But
Yeah.
if you go into that comment section, he's still there, leaving replies on the comments of other commenters.
Oh, man. Oh, wow. This is so funny.
What a fucking loser.
Yeah, the thing is, if you had told, like, 2015 me that, like, Max Landis would be, like, looking at your work and you would hate him, I wouldn't have believed. But now I'm like, wow, it's funny how things play out.
Life is strange, man. Life is strange.
Life is Strange, coming to a video game console near you, Turn Back Time. The main character of that is named Max as well. It's a different Max, and she hasn't done any crimes.
How do I land this joke?
You by killing me, I guess.
With a helicopter. Anyway.
Oh, it's compounding. It's all compounding.
You come here for the running jokes, motherfuckers. Are you not entertained?
These jokes run faster than even Fast Eddie.
these jokes could escape the pursuit of Max Landis.
May we all escape the pursuit of Max Landis.
Dear God, yeah, he's this gangly 096 looking motherfucker who he's like SCP-096, but if you say his name, he comes running for you instead of seeing his face.
Yeah, he's not the shy guy. He's the like high guy because he's high on crack.
He's the obnoxiously outgoing guy.
Yeah. Oh boy. All right. Next bullet point.
It's so fun to bully him. Anyway, sorry.
Next one is homeschoolers. Learn this site. Love it. There's nothing better than free information when you're homeschooling. Oh. Well, I'm not going to touch that one.
Maybe we'll call up just a robot. I hear he's not very busy these days. We can ask his opinion on the matter.
Oh, if only Just a Robot had read more TV tropes, he wouldn't have gotten into such a disaster. If only he had read more TV tropes.
I love that we've got this, like, really, like just
what are we doing? Like, are we just boxing with the whole rogue gallery this minute of this recording? What's going on?
This is our Kendrick moment. We're roasting everyone. Like, but like it's just so funny that like maybe we can get him to guest talk about this in exchange. We'll like I don't know agree a number of nights that we could help talk him to sleep.
Oh boy. Woo.
Alrighty, we're back in. I'm feeling spicy today. What's in these Tim Tams? Does Max Landis have these?
We'll move on to the next bullet point. We're just gonna stick to the substance, though it's really funny because it's like us 3 minutes from now. Chuck Wendig, get in here! It's your turn!
And Chuck Wendig comes in. Just the idea of, oh no, is that Chuck Wendig's entrance music?
Oh my god, he's got the Killing Stone! He's reassembled it!
I have to ask. To both you and the audience, what would Chuck Wendig's like wrestling entrance music be?
Oh my god, he's gonna uncage the Story Bears.
He's gonna stomp on you like a big robot in a plexiglass enclosure.
It's me, tremble in fear before the Bacon Narwhal.
Wait, no, I know what his entrance music is. I'm losing
myself in you.
He inspired that song after all. Anyway,
yeah,
sorry.
It's true. I wrote that for him.
What's the next point? We'll try desperately to stay on topic and probably fail. Let's go.
Yeah. All right. Next bullet point. Some learning disabilities. Dyscalculia is one. I hope I pronounced that correctly.
That is people who have, I believe, difficulty doing like sums and calculations. It's like it's in the same sort of family as dyslexia.
Oh, okay, yeah. So this one is it's math related.
We are learning things. From
We're +1 to my vocab.
And if I've gotten that wrong, I apologize. I dropped out of psychology. Anyway,
but yeah, so it says some learning disabilities work really well with this site. You wonder how you tried to write without it. And yeah, like I would say that like we were saying earlier, the way that people interact with TV tropes, it can make learning fun in an unconventional way that school doesn't allow you to do. And especially for neurodivergent people, myself included, it can be a really good way to, get the information across without it being oh, I get it, but I don't get it. I just can't listen to it.
Yeah, no, it's true. And I know that people with a lot of different neurodivergencies get a lot of comfort out of being able to sort of take something that could be kind of messy and confusing and view it in sort of clean, legible categories. So I can really see how that would be helpful there.
Good bullet point. Last bullet point in this section, and then we'll probably loop around and judge the section as a whole. Adding to tropes, or even posting in the forums, is a good exercise in thinking analytically and expressing yourself clearly. Practice it every day, and you'll improve your writing skills.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I am a huge believer, especially if, as it would be on something like TV Tropes, it would be peer-reviewed, and if someone edits it... me and Meg watched All the President's Men the first time last night, and there's this sort of little scene in that where Bernstein is like saying to Woodward, you don't mention the like leading figure's name, you don't mention Coulson until the third paragraph. Bring him up top. That's a better way of doing it. And little moments like that, even if it's in something as simple as editing pages on TV Tropes, then seeing how other people edit your like phrasing to like reformat and refine them for greater clarity, genuinely will, I think, especially if you're on the sort of younger end, be something that if you're willing to learn from it, sticks with you in a positive way.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with all that. Just before we move on to the next section, there was something I wanted to say about like using TV tropes and finding a negative trope in your work that you didn't know was there. There is like while I do think discovering things that are going to go over badly or like be like problematic in some way is probably a good thing so you can make like an educated choice of which audience you want to cultivate.
Hmm.
Um Sometimes you don't need to discover Bungus. Like you don't need to like go on the TV tropes and then be like, "Oh, wait a second. This thing is Bungus. I've realized that there's Bungus in my work." Like maybe there is something to not necessarily knowing every possible thing that could go wrong at least while you're writing it. Editing, a little bit of a different story.
Yeah, no, and frankly, similar criticisms could be levied, and God knows we have levied them, even at our own work. I'm not going to name any names here, but I am going to like bring this up in good faith. We had someone contact us, I would say maybe a couple of years ago now, and he was a dude who seemed really kind of adrift in his writing work. He'd written a pilot for a series, not going to give any more information than that, but he'd written a pilot for a series, and the dude seemed to be in like a lot of doubt about it. And he sent us the script, and he told us that he had been like reaching out to other like writing YouTubers to like get opinions on like what he should change and stuff, and he was even like, I'll give you guys money if you do this. And again, not going to name any names, but allegedly some other writing YouTubers had accepted this guy's money for
Yeah,
this.
we did not.
We did
Yep.
not, for the record. And for that same reason, as much as we love you guys and we encourage you, please don't send us unsolicited scripts. Either trust your own instincts, not ours. We can only tell you how we'd do it. But I think the most devastating part of this kind of thing, and he expressed his intent that he was going to continue going to other YouTubers about it. He said to us, like, yeah, no, I feel like there's a lot that needs to change. I need to get these advice. This one YouTuber has said one thing, this other YouTuber has said another. And the biggest bummer in all of this is, like, for a novice writer, it was a reasonably solid script. We all read through it. We honestly quite enjoyed it. And I believe what we may have sent to him in the end was essentially saying, like, hey, just keep going, keep writing, keep editing, get feedback from friends. Please don't search out like YouTubers like us as gurus, because like frankly the cream of the crop doesn't rise to the top. Like YouTube's success on this kind of stuff is very much based around like luck and keywords and like talking about like topics that are algorithm friendly.
Not only that, like the purpose of getting a lot of different voices to look at your work, like a lot of different critical perspectives, is not to please all of those critical perspectives, especially if they're all very different. You know, YouTubers who, even within the same space of like talking about media and writing, we can be very different. And chances are you're not going to please all of us, like even if you try to do that. And to you know, to bring it towards what we were saying about like discovering the flaw in your writing that you didn't even know is there, you know, there will always be that chance that that will happen the more you like sort of like leave the door open for that kind of reading of your work.
It's true, it can introduce a really like toxic grain of doubt, because Lord knows every writer, I would speculate, at some point fucking tries this. I have, I bet you have. Like I would take a stab in the dark and say every writer has had this moment where they go on the quixotic quest to create like the mathematically perfect story, and as a result, they're like, I should try to take in as many rules as possible. And you end up like building a cage around yourself out of so many prescriptive rules of this is a good trope, this is a bad trope. do this, don't do this, do more of this. This is what made that good. Yada 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 yada. And it'll drive you mad. You won't get anything done. You'll just get so neurotic about what will make your writing good or bad. Most of the time, you won't even start.
This actually relates to another concept, a bit of a lighthearted one, to sort of maybe take the edge off of the existential crisis of a lot of people who are in this position of they want the approval of a lot of experienced people, but they also want to just be sure of themselves. Henry, do you want to explain the purity of the caveman's dream?
Okay, so there is this podcast that I really enjoy called This Paranormal Life, and they every week discuss. It's two Northern Irish guys, Kit and Rory, talking about paranormal cases with a kind of like comedic slant. It's not an audio drama; it's a chat show, but it's one of my favorites. And in one episode, they were talking about dreams and about the fact that human dreams in the modern day are subject to a kind of matrix of pop culture. So you have no real idea when you look at your dreams where these elements might have come from. Like, you might see a person in your dream and you don't really know, is this like a person my brain has made up? Is it a person I've met in real life? Is it a person from a movie? Is it a person who was on like a billboard or a bus ad that I walked past? And the brain is just full of that soup. And they were saying, like, back in caveman times, their dreams must have been, like, so pure and meaningful because they weren't affected by all this stuff. They were joking that it's like, oh, you're, like, reaching up for, like, a berry, and it's just out of reach. Or, like, a saber-toothed tiger is, like, lunging at you, and then in the last moment, it, like, becomes your mother. And it's like, oh, what could this mean? Compared to the modern dream of, like, yeah, last night I dreamed that Batman was having sex with Abraham Lincoln. And I think this idea of the purity of caveman dreams that we kind of got from that explains what is so fascinating about like a great deal of like outsider art. This idea of what does the brain produce when it's not in that same kind of pop culture soup as the rest of us, and the more very online you are, the further into that soup you are. And I don't think there is any kind of deeper soup than being an ardent troper. It's the complete opposite of the purity of caveman dreams.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't even know how we would give people advice to cultivate that.
I don't even know if you should necessarily try to cultivate that.
Like, I think where it relates to writers who are really struggling with, like, this outside pressure that is not their own vision but feels so important is that trust in your own experiences more than the advice of strangers you believe are more talented than you. You don't necessarily know you're getting the full picture of, like, what they're doing and like how they operate. You can't know whether or not they can really help you in the end.
No, it's true. It's true. At the end of the day, while you should avoid getting an ego about you, what that person that we talked about earlier, despite genuinely having some potential, was clearly severely lacking was creative confidence. And that's a valuable thing to develop. And frankly, I would define creative confidence as being secure in your idea of what you want out of your own output.
Yeah. And like, that is the fun bit, right? Is that you know that you can express yourself. That this outlet is something that is all yours, and whatever it shares in common with the rest of the world that it is like going to be released into, that will be the way it resonates with people. That will be the commonalities you have with your fellow human beings. But before you're finished with it, you can't fully think about that. And you certainly can't let those who would disapprove of it destroy you.
That's right, baby. This was a stealth episode of Two Professional Writers.
I mean, everything we do is...
It truly is. Alrighty, what's next?
Humor!
How TV tropes can make you better at sex. It's true, it's why Echo Chamber was so funny.
What you just said was very funny, too. If comedy is your style, this site's informal yet witty manner can help you become a generally smarter, funnier, and more approachable person. Entries about dude, not funny, can help you avoid cracking jokes likely to offend people.
I'm in a fair mood today. I'm in a fair mood. So here's what I'm going to say. Brains are very diverse. People are really different. And, people have neurodivergencies, people have different backgrounds, different, lifestyles, different, cultural and social mores. And the thing is, it's going to sound like a diss, but it genuinely isn't. I think if being on YouTube has, taught me anything, just engaging with audiences, it is simply that, in as neutral a way I can possibly say this, social skills aren't easy for everyone to pick up. Genuinely. To some people, they come pretty naturally. I feel like I'm lucky to be, while I would say I'm introverted, I would say that I'm, in terms of, where I draw energy from, not to sound too, First Earth Battalion, but, I, if you know, you know.
That
But,
got me.
but I am outgoing in the regard that I don't think I have a particularly hard time, talking to people, and I think I can be reasonably aware of, what I should and shouldn't say in a conversation, etc., etc. But more and more, I've realized that, that isn't a given. If anything, it's kind of a privilege. And genuinely, if you are in a position where you would see that page and be like, oh god, I really dodged a bullet here. I could have made a joke about that, and that would have been really distasteful, and I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. Let's be real. In a world of 8 billion people, that person exists, and if this helped them, I'm glad it did.
Yeah, and I also want to say, in a different light in this, is that when you really get down to it, all jokes are inside jokes. Think of a meme. There are people who will get a meme, no matter how far it's spread, and people who won't. And you make, inside jokes among your friends that become, funnier, and there are contexts in which certain things are funny. What TV Tropes and a lot of sites, especially, of this time when there were, specific forums and the internet was a lot more, diverse and separate, there is this sense of, learning a lexicon of inside jokes will help do a lot of the hard parts of socialization before you really have to from the ground up make an identity for yourself.
No, it's true. It's completely true, and it's
you can be in a room full of people who are making the same jokes, and if you get those jokes and you know how to make them, you automatically have an in with those people that you wouldn't otherwise have. There is nothing more alienating than being in a community or at a place and knowing that there is a language here and it being opaque to you.
Yeah, and that is something that, we're very aware that there are a lot of neurodivergencies that sadly make that experience a much more common thing than a lot of neurotypical people would know. And I think genuinely, not to get too serious, but I think in the coming years, what will define positive development for society as a whole in this internet era is understanding that that gap is there and bridging it with kindness and understanding, meeting people where they are.
Yeah, no, I agree. Kindness and understanding, meet up people where they are, and no soap radio.
Exactly. Alrighty, what's next?
Alright, so useful notes, in a nutshell, is Wikipedia if Wikipedia were a lot more practical and informal. Useful notes, I think that is TV Tropes sort of informational
Yeah,
side.
that's what it'll be like useful notes, World War II. Useful notes, Bill Gates, that kind of thing. But what a weird combination of things to pick. It's hard to do this stuff unscripted, guys. But no, the thing is, useful notes can be useful, and I definitely won't deny that it's more informal than Wikipedia. But
cross-reference, as with everything, if you have a source of facts, cross-reference with another source of facts, see what's true, see what's not true. But it's, it's not a bad thing to have a more laconic source of the same information you might find on Wikipedia.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I imagine this might come up later. If I hear about a movie or show and I actually want to, get the log line and just know what it's about before I check it out, I always check TV Tropes because Wikipedia, you get in there and you're already overwhelmed with, the studios, the director, the budget, a bunch of names and dates, and then maybe if you go under all of that, you can get a little bit, written by and for robots looking premise. And TV Tropes in that regard, because of its, as you said, sort of laconic, informal style, it is less egregious in how it describes things, and it makes it easier to get.
Yes.
Which I appreciate.
Yeah. All right, so on to the next one. Friends. Out with someone and they suddenly make a reference to parental bonus? Instant BFF.
I mean, yeah.
I would say it's,
I would be...
Bonding with people over common interests is, a time-honored way to make friends and to deepen the connections you have.
I would say more likely the way that being an active troper would make you friends is less like someone, less this kind of I like your shoelaces, I got them from the president type stuff, and more like, hey, this is someone who I know on the Troper forums. I like what they have to say. Maybe I'll add them on Discord or something and chat with them and befriend them one-on-one like that. That's how I feel it is more likely. But the thing is, we'd be hypocrites to deny this, given that some of our most frequent pieces of advice when we're saying having friends can really help enhance your creative life is go to these online interest community spaces and befriend people that you get along with there. So I think this is very much in line with that spiritually.
Yeah, and I gotta say, there are two different, I don't know if these are really, this is really, humor, per se, but, and it's not directly related to TV Tropes, but there were two distinct periods of my life when I was getting into a new social circle. Both times it was, kind of the nerdy group in my college of fellow freshmen when I was coming into college. And then before that in high school, the kind of cool alternative theater kids. And in both cases, there was a kind of Rosetta Stone that I needed to study in order to get what they were all talking about. And in the case of the theater kids from high school, it was Donnie Darko. And in the case of the, the fellow geeky freshmen, it was Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog. And it's once I understood a little bit about these things, I could kind of hear what people are saying, and then through the ways that they were making jokes, I would be able to intuit, oh, okay, so this is the kind of personalities that are at play here. It will be something different, of course, for whatever group or community you're entering into, but knowing what people are talking about and being curious about it and maybe getting a cool media or educational experience out of it is very much worth it, because even if you don't make the closest friends in the world from that, you'll still learning more things yourself.
I completely agree. All right, next one.
All right, so next is bored of your favorite shows, movies, or book series? You will be able to enjoy your favorite things once more because of all the wild mass guessing combined with finding new content and overall descriptions the tropes provide. Not only can you find new content to try out, but you have a new way of seeing your old shows and books as if you were reading them for the first time. Ooh, wholeheartedly agree with this.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Well, I've never really been much for sort of fan theories and things. I'm not against them, they're just not really how I engage with media. I will definitely say that I have read stuff on TV Tropes page about things that I've watched and been like, ooh, I didn't notice that. That's really interesting. And then gone back, noticed it on the rewatch or the reread or the re-listen, and felt rewarded by that.
Yeah, and I've done things where it's I'll go to a character from a story's page and see what tropes are listed under them, and I'm oh yeah, they are totally that. That's really cool. Who else is like that?
No, it's true.
Yeah.
I'll put it this way, right? In many ways, sometimes searching a TV Tropes thing can simulate what it is like to talk to a friend about a piece of media, right? Because let's be real. While we as a friend group will recommend stuff to each other often and we'll check it out, and that's a lot of the stuff that we cover on the Patreon. Um, Sometimes you've read a book or watched a show or seen a movie that no one else has seen. And I don't think generally when you want to talk to someone about a piece of art you've experienced, you don't want them to have all of the exact same opinions and beliefs and perspectives as you, because if they did, what would be the point? You want another angle on these things. And I think sometimes checking TV tropes, which is a bit more sort of opinion based, from the different editors and writers on there, it can scratch that itch if it's something that you really want to discuss or hear more about through a human lens, but like none of your friends have consumed the same thing.
Well, it definitely feels like less high pressure than looking up critical professional reviews of like a piece of media and seeking those out, especially on like, aggregate review sites, which, will kind of bombard you with the score first and foremost, and then you have to like
They'll
seek out
flatten and cherry pick people's opinions on things.
yeah, and you have to like go a little bit further and seek out particular reviews if you want to get deeper into that. Whereas TV tropes will have the sort of broadness of people's opinions on it just kind of present on the Your Mileage May Vary page or like Fridge Logic or things like that.
No, it's true, and it's so much better than the kind of lack of nuance in scores, which is why on my Letterboxd, just Henry Galley, you can find me there. Gus and Mega also on there, and Zooey and Addison, come to think of it, and Charlie. God, we're all on there. We love Letterboxd. Yeah, you can find us all there. But I, at a point, stopped leaving star reviews. I'll generally just have the heart if I liked it or not, and I'll either leave like a proper or just a silly little review. But I think there's just something that doesn't jibe with the way that my brain works and processes media about having to apply some kind of like numerical out of 5 score. Because, like, for example, like, what's really the difference between a 3.5 and a 4? And what's really the difference between a 4, a 4.5, and a 5? It all just feels a little bit arbitrary to me. I prefer qualitative rather than quantitative perspectives on that.
No, it's true. It's true. And I think like, what the 5 scale means is going to vary so heavily from person to person that it becomes
Heavily,
meaningless.
it's happening, just like happily.
We're making new words out here today. No, but yeah, so on my Letterboxd, I don't even review like in text the movies that I watch. It's either I put a heart for liking them or I don't. And usually when I put a heart, it's not even necessarily that like, oh, I love this. This is one of my favorites of all time. It's just I am going to remember this for a long time. I'm thinking about this movie. The experience of watching it was engrossing. And that's what a heart means to me. I don't necessarily know that people like that I'm not going to have a direct conversation with need to know the deeper nuances of my thoughts on it, because that's private. At least that's the way that like I say that as a YouTuber, but at least as far as Letterboxd goes, I use it for.
You got to at least pay $1 to hear it all on Patreon.
Oh man,
You ain't getting that shit for free.
So, what I mean to say is, I use that sort of stuff for its own utility, and I think TV tropes is a similar utility where it's like, the works are just kind of present there, and you can like appreciate them. There is not this feeling that you necessarily need to participate, and in that way, it is much like watching or getting to like continue to watch something without changing the original text, but also getting more value out of what's already there.
It's very true. Alrighty, so what's the next one?
Although TV Tropes has its downs, it's a really great place. It helps you learn about awesome media and cool tropes to use. It's funny, heartwarming, it's awesome, and it's everything you wanted. I'm sorry.
Is that the last one?
No, who wrote this one? It's like
What insane little bit of glazing to throw into the middle of this.
yeah, this is like in the middle of this, just like a 7-year-old being like, TV Tropes is my favorite place. I love it. It's so cool.
I guess I appreciate your enthusiasm, random troper. I think we'll just skip to the next one.
All right.
Because that's nothing.
Yeah. What if a storyline component suddenly reminds you of a trope you know next to nothing about? Seriously, who knew you could catch a Genghis Gambit as soon as you learned about the event? Congratulations, you've just been enriched.
I can get a little bit Genghis
I knew it.
Gambit.
I knew it. I knew it. God damn it. God damn it. Of course.
What is a Genghis Gambit? Is it just to have a load of kids?
Let me check out what Genghis Gambit is. I think it was that.
Is Elon Musk currently engaging in a Genghis Gambit against us all?
No. It was the guy who conquered all of China by throwing playing cards at them.
Was that in Yu-Gi-Oh?
No, it's Gambit, the X-Men.
Oh my god.
And he's Genghis Khan, so he's Genghis Gambit.
This is a mess. Alright, what's
It's
up?
the Genghis Gambit is just the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
I didn't know it was called. I guess I've been enriched too.
Yeah, that's because you get a little Genghis Gambit. Okay, anyway. Next one.
Next one.
Just think while you've been getting down and out with all the liars and dirty cheats of the world, you could be getting down to these sick tropes. That snuck up on me. I didn't know I was reading that.
Is the rest of these gonna wait? Is that real? Or
That
did you just make
no,
up?
no, that was real. That was it's just a link to like Taylor Swift's like its page on TV Tropes.
r/surprise Taylor Swift.
that was great. That was awesome.
Well played, TV Trope.
Well, they're just getting silly on it a little bit with this next one. TV Tropes made me genre savvy. That's it. That's the whole thing. I think that's fair.
This is becoming more and more like Trooper Tales-esque. We're getting into the no, you must eat your cum, it's your soul leaving your body territory.
Yeah, very relatable, very relatable. I'm gonna kind of bullet point rapid fire through this, and I'll have you react to each of these because they've gotten a little bit
And I'm
more...
going to say, for context, what I just said was in an episode of Trooper Tales. That wasn't me freestyling that.
I know, I'm just...
For anyone who hasn't seen those videos.
I'm just being a jerk.
Now I'm a jerk, and everybody
everyone
loves me.
Now I'm a troper, and everyone thinks I'm a jerk. TV Tropes help me learn about some of the interesting ways a trope can be played with, deconstructed, or reconstructed. This has helped me immensely in my writing.
I'd love to read that person's writing.
Yeah! Post it if you're that person, down below.
Yeah.
And if you're not that person,
That same guy
pretend to
who
be that
emailed
person
us.
and post it down below. And have some confidence, have some faith in yourself.
Wait, I just remembered that he didn't even email us, that guy. He paid to get onto the Patreon so he could direct message you it.
That's true. That's very true.
So I guess he did pay us for advice after all.
More people should do that. For no particular reason.
Join the Patreon. It's a cool place. Anyway.
For the 49th time. I've been not counting very well. What are numbers? Next one is feeling down. Go peruse some tropes like You Are Not Alone, Heartwarming Moments, WAFF, or Sweet Dreams Fuel. Or go click around on Funny Moments. Pretty much guaranteed to put a smile back on your face.
Those are nice, and I get that, but what's WAF?
Yeah,
what is that?
Bring a bucket and a mop for that wet-ass fucking...
For that wet-ass trooper.
Warm and fuzzy feeling. Oh, okay.
Oh, well, that's nice.
It's English for fua fua time, which is Japanese for Danta.
You can't do that to me.
You get that? That
wasn't very nice of you.
You fucking did the Willem Dafoe. You can't do this to me in Spider-Man.
Yeah. Do you know how much I've sacrificed
For this company? He goblined. Goblin
He
deed.
was gobbling that scenery.
Oh, okay, that's what you were gonna say. Okay. So the next one is the Sugar Wiki as a whole. We like the good qualities of our favorite works so much that we can't stop gushing about them, even though we know perfectly well it's our totally subjective opinions. Proof that sweet exists. See also TV Tropes will ruin your life. TV Tropes ruins your life. TV Tropes is a gateway drug. TV Tropes will ruin your vocabulary, though. If TV Tropes has enhanced your life, let us know. Hey, that's the point of this video.
That bit when you were listing that stuff made me think of the bit from the Brass Eye episode on drugs when they're making all of the
Yeah.
politicians say that they it's like it's the organization No Offense incorporating No Offense, No Offense, No Offense, and No Thanks.
Yeah, exactly.
That same energy.
This next one is TV Tropes is the #1 method I use to find engaging fan fiction.
Do you know what? Fair enough. They do have the fanfic regs, which are real. Okay, so okay, I am going to.
Okay.
Lindsay, our friend Lindsay, who we have mentioned a few times on the show before, she did something really funny related to this. I need to find you. We're going to do this on the call right now. She showed me the fanfic recs, which was a feature of TV Tropes that I'd legitimately never used before. I didn't know about it.
Oh, yeah.
She said, check out the one for the Scooby-Doo page. One of these fanfics in the general fanfic section might be a fetish fanfiction. Can you guess which one?
You want me to go check? Or,
and if you quickly open that up, go to General Fix, that we have these titles, and just scroll down to the first one that has a big paragraph in the comments section.
Okay. You know, all I really needed to see was the gang heads off to the town of Yumfields
To enter Daphne into a big beautiful woman contest.
Yes, you heard that right.
That's not me saying that. That's in the thing.
Oh, it'll be on screen.
I love you, TV Tropes. You're so repressed. You're so horny. You're so strange.
Well, here's the thing. You know what isn't repressed is the actual fanfic writers. They're getting their shit out there.
It's true. They have no illusions about what they're doing.
Yeah, it's a real Bora Bora honeymoon.
Gus, you are pushing me close to the edge right now.
Well, you know, I'm glad that you've digested what I was saying.
Oh, God damn it. If you know, you know. All right.
They know! Next up is, I was going to say something, but just fanfiction is rad. People should do it, and it should be brought more back into, like, the way that people interact with modern media. Like, bring back fanfiction, bring back, like, you know, of all...
It never left.
It never left, true. People who can hang are still writing fanfiction, and we love them for it. Next up is... The process of making TV Tropes pages helps me develop critical thinking skills towards pop culture I am exposed to.
I thought that was randomly going to end with I am exposing myself.
I am exposed. Chuck Wendig! We knew it was coming! We knew it was happening! This was roughly 3 minutes from when we brought that up, right? Just roughly?
I guess from a kind of fourth dimensional perspective, where you would be standing outside of time and looking in, you could see it that way.
In a cosmic sort of way, yes.
Time is a flat circle. What is that, Nietzsche? Shut the fuck up.
Time is a flat circle, like my penis. Next up is TV Tropes helped me, and possibly you, discover my love for William Adolphe Bouguereau. Who?
I can't say I've discovered that love yet. I don't know who the fuck
If
that
you
is.
know who William Adolphe Bouguereau is, leave your comment down below telling us how cool he is.
I just got a little bit nervous when you said Adolf the first time while reading through it.
I that would make anyone nervous, I would think, especially here on YouTube. TV Tropes is a great place to store and mine quotes for future, like reading it like a 3-year-old. TV Tropes is... Hey, we did say it was apey. We did say it was apey.
Introducing Trope Coin.
Oh, wow. Fast Eddie, we need your
That
help.
would make me need to rescind my support. Of
Yeah,
TV Tropes.
yeah, if TV Tropes was doing, like, TV Trope cryptocurrency. Oh, God, does Cryptoland have, like, a page? Well, no, it can't, because it's not real, but... I would love to see Connie the Coin's, like, character page that says Complete Monster and list all the reasons why.
If this wasn't a joke that was years out of date, it would be so funny to make a Connie the Coin power scaling video.
Yeah, it's true. I mean...
In the vein of, like,
Yeah.
Slazos, like the absolute size of Shrek and the absolute size of Gru.
Yeah. Hey, maybe Connie the Coin, maybe we can bring him back, because ultimately, he could just be our character now. No one else is
The
using
trademark lapsed. He belongs to us now. We've minted the coin. We haven't, I swear. Don't worry.
him.
All right,
No.
what's next? Yeah, what was that one you were reading anyway? That
I finished that one. We're on to the next one.
No, what about mining and storing that we started yelling about crypto midway through?
Oh, it's store and mine quotes for future use, which is something that you do regardless.
No, it's true. It's true. It is something that, much to the annoyance of everyone around me, I keep a commonplace book where I write down my favorite quotes so I can reel them off when needed. And it makes me a very frustrating person to be around.
It's just like, Henry, we're gonna order pizza. What do you want? And he says, and you say, Bruce Lee said, reject what is like unnecessary, refine what is, and keep what is essentially yours. I butchered the quote, but
And this is why I keep the book.
so that you don't embarrass yourself like I do.
Yo, Henry, we're going to the mall. You want to come? Well, Kierkegaard once said.
Yeah, exactly.
This is what the dialogue in NBC's Hannibal sounds like.
Yeah, exactly.
And I love it for it.
No, it's true.
Anyway.
TV Tropes ruined a life that needs ruining. There is a blue link for this ruined, and I'm going to see who that is. Oh, it's just a link back to TV Tropes will ruin your life. So,
I thought it was going to be like, yeah, there's this really bad guy.
yeah, it's this link to like a June the King-esque like documentary about like the
takedown.
downfall of like a troper. That'd be interesting, but it would be beyond the scope of this video.
It really would.
The next one is TV Tropes is ruining my life and I am here for it. Gotta love a positive attitude.
That was who the last one was talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's a real bad guy.
It's true. I'm a terrible guy. It's true. I am cheap. TV Tropes allowed me to make friends and feel like part of a community for the first time. Nausea Nerd 66, a young and very proud troper.
Oh, that's good. Good for him. What's next? I'm not going to roast you, Nausea.
Yeah,
Oh.
Nausea probably 80 by now. Like, which would make us 4,000. There's a bullet point on this that says, TV Tropes made me see this comment, which made my day, even if there are only 6 hours left in it. Oh, yeah, good thing they said
We only
day
have
and not
6
life.
hours to live.
Yeah, and this person's name was Gluteus Maximus I, formerly Frying Pan of Doom. More of a lateral movement than an upgrade, I must say.
Yeah, he was Throwman of Doom first and then became a committed pistachio disguising style arse man.
Yeah, love is thicker than your
Devoted his
behinds.
whole brand to that.
Yeah,
She got the big mama caboose.
you guys know I can hear you, right?
Fuck is that movie?
Yeah, it's a future Patreon review. That's what it is.
I believe you've already twisted Charlie's arm into agreeing to that.
That's true, but I've got another one with them that I haven't edited yet because I'm bad at things.
Get your ass on that.
Yep.
Alright, what's next?
TV Tropes introduced me to songs such as Star 69 by REM. This is by Dylan MC6. REM's
Really
a bop.
surreal to
Yeah.
discover an REM song through TV Tropes. That's strange and interesting.
Yeah, but hey, that's cool. REM's good. I like some of their stuff.
They're in here on TV Tropes, losing their religion.
Next one is a paragraph, but here we go.
Oh boy.
TV Tropes can actually help you how to write stories. It can actually help you how to write stories. Ooh, boy. Oh, we're in for it now. I'm rolling up my sleeves. My.
Oh, no.
Remember,
Oh, no.
remember, tropes are tools. So first teach yourself how to construct a story using logical combination, not illogical.
Oh, no.
Using logical combination of tropes, and when you gain more experience...
No, Gus,
Mhm.
go back to the start. You have to read this in like a Russian accent.
Oh, yes, da. I can't do it. What if I just did the drinker again? What if I just did the drink? Because, like, I don't know if I could do Russian.
The worse you do, the more it'll fit.
Okay. TV Tropes can actually help you how to write stories. Remember, tropes are tools. So first teach yourself how to construct a story using... This is becoming strong bad. Using...
It was always strong bad. It was immediately strong bad. It didn't become him. It never was not him.
Yeah.
Read it normal. I'll let you
All
stop
right.
bullying you.
Oh my god. Strong bad. More like weak good. There's nothing. TV tropes can actually help you how to write stories. Remember, tropes are tools, so first teach yourself how to construct a story using logical combination of tropes, and when you gain more experience, you can then deconstruct, subvert, exaggerate any trope you want. You can then even make more bizarre trope combinations, so let your imagination and hard work guide you. If you try hard enough, you might even invent a new trope, making your work a trope maker. You know what? Like, we've covered this ground.
There's
but
such a sincerity to it, you know, that like...
we didn't need to be like, 2 typos, minor spelling mistake, nuked off the face of the earth.
like classic H-bomber guy. Whereas like if you like said something wrong, you are fucked.
Yeah,
It's gonna, like, put a
forever.
pneumatic drill through your head.
I don't know.
I need to. All right, but just inspired by that.
Uh-huh.
That last thing about like making a trope. Do you know something that I think about all the time? Do you know about the like blueberry fetish?
Is this based on like the Willy Wonka scene where a person becomes a big blueberry?
Yeah.
Okay, so I do know about it. From a friend!
Yeah. But do you ever think about the fact that Roald Dahl created a fetish?
No, it's true. Well, now listen. They had berries back in caveman times. Maybe
Yeah,
those
they did,
pure...
but they didn't do this with it.
Well, in the purity of the dream, perhaps such a thing were possible.
Well, yeah, what were cave? That's the thing, though. Do you know?
What?
You know, the thing is, being a pervert was a more honorable profession in caveman times because the existence of caveman perverts is how we know that cow milk is drinkable.
That's a proud tradition. And, well, here's the thing. You know, it paid back to be a pervert back then because the only currency was jism.
Jizz coin.
Jizz coin! They knew it was coming. They were apey. They were the original apes. That sounds like something bad in that
Let's
context.
move on.
Uh,
Let's move on.
All right, so these last ones...
I had no idea when I sat down to record this that this video would be this feral.
Yeah. All right, so these next ones are like, they're mostly jokes. I'm just going to go right through them, rapid fire, and you could give me a little reaction to each one. Here we go. TV Tropes pitched the New Deal to FDR.
And they also foiled the business plot that was trying to ruin all of it.
Yeah. TV Tropes led the strike team that killed Osama bin Laden.
I don't know what to say to that. Fast Eddie got into the compound real quick.
Faster than all the security cams. It's like that part in
But
Fast
that-
5
that's why-
where they drive the car faster than the security cameras can pick it up.
Or it's like that's why there was never any like pictures or something of Bin Laden's body. It's not that they threw him into the ocean. It's that Fast Eddie just like A-trained him. He just like exploded into red mist and giblets.
It was me, Barry. I got him. It was reverse Fast
I
Eddie.
killed Bin Laden.
Yeah. Oh man. TV Tropes is hilarious.
Okay.
TV. Like I haven't said this word a million times throughout the course of this. TV Tropes is the reason I started shipping a ship that I was on the fence about.
They did a good job in that regard. Unless, actually, I say, might not have been a good ship for all we know.
Yeah, it might have been a sinking ship. It might have been the Titanic.
Oh, I'm losing my fucking goose.
I'm losing myself in you.
Oh god, Chuck Wendig's descending.
It's a remix. It's a T-Pain remix of just like... I'm trying to auto-tune with my actual voice, and that's never gonna happen. That's why they invented auto-tune.
The Lonely Island does a guest
Yeah.
verse.
All right, this is the last one, the be-all, the end-all. TV Tropes is the fulcrum upon which the balance of media analysis turns.
You know what? They genuinely might not be wrong, is the funny thing.
They might not be, except that's a reference to Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver 2, a video game.
I've never fucking heard of it. That's one of those deep gamer games that anyone who played back then is now, like, trapped in the Goon Cave, whacking it to, like, Stellar Blade and Genshin Impact.
Yeah, it left a real impact on them, you might say. That was the worst. That was dumb. That was nothing.
We're getting real AP in here, guys.
Yeah, and on that note, I think it's time for us to unhunch our backs and walk tall into the future of humanity and leave behind this den of tropery so that we may rejoin society as upstanding, enhanced members of the human condition.
Go back! I want to be Troper!
Don't we all? Titus finale.